I didn't think I was going to have a lot of issues when it came to like the physicality of my looks post-surgery. If I'm going to be completely transparent and honest with you, obviously over the 6 months that has changed. Hello, welcome back to A Road Less Doubtful podcast. Today is just what I assume is going to be a relatively short episode. I am sitting at 6 months post-op for my double breast explant surgery, post that little cancer scare that I had, and I just wanted to talk to you guys about where things are at, how I've been feeling, what I've noticed, what has changed, what hasn't changed, because I want to share that with you, and I did promise that I would. So I want to talk into what I guess I have felt from my health, physically, mentally, spiritually, energetically, and kind of go through all of those little areas with you. I know for me, mentally and spiritually have been the two biggest things that I have noticed. And when I say spiritually, it's just more a connectedness that I definitely feel that I have to myself, and a lot stronger trust I have to me. Would be what I say I have noticed the most. And while that might not make sense to a lot of people, I'm still going to share that with you anyway, because it's the feeling I had going in that I had to hold on to. The wondering if I was doing the right thing, what's going to change, what if I do all of this and it's for no reason. If you haven't heard me talk about that in previous episodes, you can go back and watch the one just post-surgery. But it's really hard to go in and have a surgery, to have your implants removed, when there's no complete test as to why you should have them out. It's just this, I don't really feel like me is in, my body's not functioning how I think it should. And while I've talked about the fact that that can come down to age, that can come down to so many different factors, there was still this core part of me that was like, something doesn't sit right. And as you know, what ended up happening was I had inflammation in my right boob, and I would have only found that by having the surgery. So I had the inflammation markers in my bloods. I had Hashimoto's markers. I had a few other things going on in there. My histamine levels, all of that was happening. However, that could have been caused from other things. The doctors had told me that the lump that I had, prior to them being really suspicious of it, was just a swollen lymph node. But it was going on for such a long time that, to me, that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And just a gut feeling that something was off. As I also mentioned, I did do a mushroom journey and I did a few breath works. Again, I don't do drugs. I have never touched drugs. That is not my main thing. But doing this guided mushroom journey and my breath works and trusting me, I went through and I had that surgery. So now, 6 months on, I am really proud of me. I didn't think I was going to have a lot of issues when it came to like the physicality of my looks post-surgery. That was not really a big factor for me. I had done the mental work around that even years before, because I had wanted my implants out, but nothing was bad enough to do it. Nothing was bad enough to spend that money, to stop work, to take time away from my kids, to possibly lose everything, because that's a lot of money and a lot of time out. So nothing was bad enough. But I also didn't want that. I just didn't want them anymore. But with that said, if I'm going to be completely transparent and honest with you, obviously over the 6 months that has changed. My scarring has gotten amazing, is, I think, quite amazing. And what she did as a way of reconstructing was incredible. So underneath, she's taken a band and folded that up to give me some breast tissue, because I didn't have much to begin with. And she did have to cut around the nipple. So this is me getting real vulnerable with you guys, but she had to. They didn't get removed, but so there is a really light scar around that. I don't have the lollipop scar, which is the line going down, but I have a scar coming from here all the way around and up the sides. It has healed really, really well, and I know it will continue to. We're only 6 months on, but the way my breasts have changed shape even since the surgery is great, and I'm really happy with them. However, having somebody see me since having them out and having to be alone and say, "Hey, this is me now." There's a lot of scarring under there, and I'm really not sure how that's going to be received. That wasn't easy. So that's been something I had to get through. But what's been incredible about that is prior to going in for this surgery, so from this mental side of things, this mental game that meets the physicality of breast implants, what the hell they mean for me and what they might have meant for somebody else that I probably didn't consider as much, was post my marriage, I sort of wanted them out because I wanted the next person to just know me for me. And again, they were part of me, right? So that probably, again, sounds really silly for anyone watching, but this is just my story and I'm sharing it. Take it or leave it. But going into that surgery, I had a person in my life who made me really question my thoughts around having this surgery. And it was the greatest lesson I could have had. That, then going through the surgery and sitting in so much hurt, probably abandonment again, and really questioning, if I do this, they won't love me. They didn't anyway, but they really questioned me doing it, and pretty well were like, you will be uglier without. So having to just be like, whoa, that's not mine. Go and still do this, even though there was a chance that I'm just doing it and nothing's going to change. It left that little, well, oh, maybe I am silly to do this in the back of my mind. But then we fast forward 6 months on, and I don't know if you guys remember, but my mushroom journey was about a connection to my heart, and like my boobs were blocking my heart, and that I couldn't share this love that I had to give. Again, no, I know that could sound really crazy. That's the part that I now know that I've done the most amazing right thing. This next person who is now in my life, could have come into my life, but when they saw my scars, or when I said, I don't know what's going to happen here, I'm really scared to bare myself, wasn't even a question. And all they see is me, for me, what I have gone through, what I've overcome, and just me. But what I'm able to do since then is actually own that voice, to be able to say that and go, if that's not it for you, if I am not for you in all of me, you are welcome to walk out the door. But I also have found this, I know now where my love gets to go, and I am getting it in return. And whether that has to do with having these bloody plastic bags off of my chest, or just stepping through the lesson of doing it and learning what I needed to hold true to my intuition, to my emotions, to, I don't know, to this better love of myself, when I kept giving it everywhere else and putting everyone else's opinions of me first, that allowed this new love to come in. I can't tell you, but that's probably the biggest thing that I have felt change within all of this. Physically, it was physically again and mentally, but not from an appearance side of things. It's been hard because I don't sit still well. So those first 6 weeks where you weren't allowed to do anything, I just felt like I was going to lose paragliding, because I couldn't do anything that strong, and they told me for 6 months. I have been doing it for 2 months. My body has healed really, really well. This weekend just gone, I went away and I was able to do a handstand again. Again, it doesn't sound like a big thing, but leading into something like that, when you know you've got to stop for a while, and then being at the 6-month mark going, that is such a short period of time to do something that betters your health and makes you feel better. Again, this won't be for everybody, but if you feel that somewhere inside you something's off, just trust it, I guess, is the only thing I can tell you there. But being able to do a handstand, I've been seeing a chiropractor, doing more Pilates, and learning to just actually build the strength in my body for my body instead of working against my body. I have a lot more range through here, even though this has been really tight since. There's still a lot of scarring, so I've got to work on releasing the fascia around underneath my breast, because that's obviously where a lot was lifted. But apart from that tightness and a little bit of nerve sensation that can still fire, that's all feeling really, really good. And also, when I had the implants, I actually had no nipple sensation. I just assumed that there was no chance of that coming back because it's another surgery. It's another thing affecting that area, and considering they had to sort of cut around them, I now have some sensation, more on one side than the other. But oh my God, for a woman, that is a huge thing. And so to have that back, it also just means that repair is happening. Those nerves are starting to repair themselves and, re-link up and attach and rewire. And that can be a mental thing as well as a physical thing. So that, if you have had areas of your breasts that don't have any sensation, maybe there's a chance. I've heard other friends that have had it done and they don't get that back. But for me, I've gotten that back. So that's been amazing. Um, my skin, I think my skin has been better. I would say my eyes are still fundamentally brighter. Although from doing this, I went and did further testing just to see what else. And because of those high histamines or those mast cells that I talked about in the previous podcast that can flare up from having implants, I've gone on to just test my allergies, and I do have a mold allergy and a dust mite allergy. So that's just something I want to work on within the house. It's not something I'm really holding on to, but that can flare up. I notice in different environments where my eye redness on one eye flares up, but overall, my eyes are clearer and brighter. My skin color is definitely fresher and brighter, and that hasn't changed. It was a little bit more grayed out prior. It's definitely more vibrant. I'm happy to wear no makeup, and I feel better. And maybe that comes from being happier. Can't tell you. However, I did feel happy really leading up to it. I was having a really good year of holidays and getting away, so my life wasn't bad. So that's why I guess I'm linking the two together, and I definitely feel my immunity, honestly, has been incredible at the moment, especially in my salon. I've had cancellations left, right, and centre for people being sick, pneumonia, flu, COVID, same. My girls have been sick. Everyone around me has been sick, and I have not gotten sick. So I've had just more energy. I feel more connected to just myself and therefore everybody else. Emotionally, though, I feel like I have just had to purge and purge and purge, and it just sort of comes out of nowhere. I, it's so strange, and it almost comes from something to do with, I feel like it's stored energy through here as well. But as I'm trying to release some of this, there'll be pressure points that'll be pushed, and I will wail like a baby and I will sob and it won't stop. And then it releases and I feel lighter and better. Again, I have no logical explanation for that. These are the things that I have just noticed the most. Hormonally, my hormone levels are pretty good, but I know they're still out of balance. But I'm also not beating myself up on that at this point, because also my cortisol has been a bit higher, knowing that I've had the surgery, what I went through emotionally to get through, financially, the stress of that, and then coming back into work and just juggling of everyday life. My cortisol is higher, therefore it's going to throw my hormones out. So I'm going to retest them in another 6 months once everything else is settled, and that'll give me a really good read. But my markers for my inflammation came right down at the 4-month mark, so that was fantastic. I still do have my Hashimoto's marker there. It had come down a little, so I'll be curious to see maybe in 6 months where that sits as well. But they're really the main things that I have noticed for my journey at 6 months. I have to have just one more checkup, but the doctor is really, really happy with that. I'm back to doing all of the things that I was doing before, except super heavy weights, because obviously I have to build that back up again. But I'm also feeling like that's not what my body needs, and I'm just treating it a lot kinder. And yet I feel like I have like less gut inflammation as well. I feel like my body is just less inflamed overall. I feel like apart from the relationships that I feel like I have had with others, including my children, relationships that have now started that I saw in my mushroom journey. And then I've been sitting, and the feeling, again, I sound crazy, that I had in that journey and what I saw and felt, to then be living it in these weird random moments of my life in the last few months. Yeah, it's pretty incredible. And I don't understand if there's a full link there, but the fact that I feel like I had to connect more to my heart and me, I feel like that's what this has done for me. I can call it a nocebo, placebo, whatever effect, it doesn't really matter. I trusted me and I did it. And now this is working for me in my life, for me and those around me. So that's really all I wanted to share with you. It's just that I shared the initial really deep emotional hard stuff. It hasn't been easy. Financially, it hasn't been easy. I still question every now and then just because I don't want to be in that position. But within me and my happiness and how I feel just on an emotional level and energetically, and yeah, the synchronicities that have happened in my life since there, I just feel that spiritual connection has really amped up a bit, and that inner peace of just trusting myself, when only 6 months ago that was really crushed, but the lesson was profound. And that's probably will be my biggest takeaway. It doesn't have to be an explant, but to sit in something really painful and know that you just have to trust you when there's no full evidence, but just this knowing, that's something that I would leave with you. So anyway, till next time, guys, I'll keep you updated at the 12-month mark and let you know how it's all going as well. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.